7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Let's,
Alright,
we're gonna open the meeting in the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen for Thursday, February 15th. Corin is gonna be here tonight? No.
no,
Okay.
no, she's,
All right.
Is that everyone?
yes it is.
All three selectmen present. Town administrator is present. Corin has submitted a letter of resignation. She will no longer be doing minutes for us. Okay. And video recording, are we on live, sir? Is Leo marked up? Okay, I have the minutes from last week, Bob.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
I second that.
As amended.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't here for
Okay.
the meeting except for the telephone conference.
Okay. Any discussion on the minutes, Bob?
No,
Lean, there's a lot of paper on this one.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all in favor of approval?
aye.
Aye. Abstain. Understood.
It's like 2 meetings in one.
Okay, also in attendance at this meeting is the town moderator and also the town clerk. And a member of the Historical Awareness Committee too.
There's volume one.
Okay, I'm gonna open up for public comment first. I'll start, Leo, do you?
This is the bridge, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you asked us a few weeks back about the DHAC to consider different names, possibility for the bridge. And we did discuss it, and we came up with what we thought was a pretty good name. We came up with Stark Mill Bridge. The mill being originally there, so, I mean, you know, this way here, they get a brief history immediately, you know?
Okay.
Just by interjecting that one word.
Yeah.
And I did scope through the history, the analysis of John Stark and the mill and everything. We thought about entering Stark. We just want to go there, but just Stark Mill Bridge
Right.
is very specific and it says what it
Right
was.
to the point, you know?
I think adding mill adds a lot to it.
Yeah, right. I noticed in your
Agenda, it says
agenda,
Stark Highway.
it says Stark Highway Bridge on it. And that caught my eye today when I went online. I said,
Oh, that's an error on my part.
You know what I mean?
Stark
That's a lot. Everybody's got different monikers for it. So
Yeah.
now we're gonna actually, once we see what it looks like, we're gonna
Yeah.
consider signage, bring the signage to you and get
yeah,
approval.
well, I
I
mean,
think I
once,
was thinking highway department
Yeah,
slash
yeah.
Stark
But
Bridge
once-
update.
I
once
think
you
we have
decide-
been calling it that for quite a little while though, I think I
Yeah.
can remember that.
Yeah.
so once you
Let's have
decide
a-
on that, a name, then we can
Could you present that, make a small proposal in writing to the board?
Excuse me, oh, sure, yeah, okay, we just thought we'd get this out in advance so you guys could
Okay.
mull it over before we start hearing it called something else.
might even
And
wanna
it
do-
sticks to that.
We might even want to do a teacher tidbit sheet for the kids over at the school and tie in a ribbon cutting with the kids.
Oh, absolutely, I think it'd be fun,
Okay.
especially for the key members of the public who've been waiting patiently for that bridge for many years.
Can I just bring up one point?
Sure.
I'm just curious as to whether this is gonna interfere with our bridge permits and DOT and all that stuff.
What do you mean?
Why is
They have that as one of our bridges that they inspect and whatnot. I don't know if a name change or anything.
Oh, I don't think
Is-
so.
Has it been changed?
It's called the Stark Bridge now.
Stark Bridge right now,
Yeah.
is that's what it's recognized on the
Okay.
permits.
Well,
Okay.
so we're inserting mill. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't
there's
think
gonna
it's a
be an
big
issue.
deal.
yeah.
It's just gonna be really for local
Better than
reference.
Stark Highway Bridge.
For local reference.
We're gonna put a sign by it though.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, as soon as we know what the name officially is, then we
Yeah.
can have a sign made.
Okay, yep.
You know, right now, we're
We'll
not gonna do
just keep
that.
an ear to the ground for when the.
So we thought we'd present it
Yep.
ahead of time.
And we'll start using it.
Okay?
Okay,
And the only other thing we had from the awareness committee is I did give you a paper. The people that Bud put in charge of his historical reference library after he died, this has been since 2008, with money. We had a lot of steps as to why we couldn't handle the collection to now. We had to get the smoke out. That took years and years. But the second problem was finding a qualified person to work on this. We had librarians look at it. We had surveyors look at it. It's a unique material, and we finally found somebody that is willing to start working on it, several chunks. And Les and I went and surveyed the property, make sure it's a secure neighborhood, the property is fine, there's no smoke, there's no animals running around and all that kind of stuff. It's only gonna be 2 tubs. I've showed them to Mike, so he knows what this material is. So we're gonna actually start spending some of the money, okay? just so you're aware that we will be going in for funds, but we're keeping a tight cap on what we're spending, because the money that's in there has to account for the entire collection, not just this initial first 2 tubs.
And I understand you as stewards of the dollars,
Stewards of the
we hold the dollars, but you are the stewards of the dollars.
Correct.
And we will be prepared to write the appropriate, transfer of funds when needed.
This is not tax dollars anyway.
Oh, no, this is all donated money, it was a
Right, there's
bequest.
no tax,
The biggest part of it was a
dollars
bequest
involved.
directly from Bud.
Right, and so gentlemen of the board, this is just an FYI, a courtesy FYI for us, and letting us know that they will be asking for a transfer of dollars, and I don't see any issues with this at all.
Can I just ask one question on that? How many tubs do you guys have approximately? You mentioned 2.
Oh, it's about 5,200 now, we started out with close to 6, but we did spend some money initially in
No,
purchasing.
I'm talking
many
about the
tubs?
tubs, the history
Oh,
that you're
it's
trying to.
now down to 6 tubs of material,
Oh, okay.
2 of which need filing, because they have to be recognized by range and lot numbers, and
Okay.
so you need a qualified surveyor to look
Okay,
at them.
so that's what you're trying to earmark first,
Exactly.
and then you.
We're gonna do that,
and then
and
do
the
it.
eventual place for all of this material, when it gets condensed and culled down, is going to be at the library.
Okay.
The town owns it, but it will be at the library.
Okay.
So it's, I just found it interesting, and, there's a lot of work that's been done
Oh,
by
yeah,
volunteers, and
it's
so.
quite interesting.
kudos to
if you
your
have
committee.
time. Yeah.
Thanks for all the background paperwork that went with it too.
So we are aware of it and just move forward with it. Okay, I'm gonna go to, you're on the agenda tonight, so we'll just defer. Mike, you're on the agenda too. Okay.
Linda's got something.
Oh,
Can I
Linda,
do
go ahead.
public comment that's not on the agenda?
Sure.
Thank you. In December of 2016, I had a resident write a check for a little less than $800 for a motor vehicle registration. The check was returned for non-sufficient funds. I gave the resident a courtesy call, and he did come in and write another check, which also bounced. That was January of 2017. So I did the courtesy call, no answer. I did the certified letter, it was returned uncollected. I then filed an administrative complaint with the Department of Motor Vehicles. They flagged his registration, which meant he couldn't renew it until he made good on it. So January was his renewal month, and he came in and the big flag went up on my computer, and I said, Money, you know, you have to do this. So he went to DMV, he had to pay them money as well. He had to pay me, I had to give him the letter of release. That check just came back.
Again.
So I've been in contact with DMV, and they said I just file another administrative complaint with them, which is gonna be another year. At this point, I'm looking for guidance from the board. Do I turn this over to you now for collection? Do you wanna flag this person as a no more checks forever and ever? This is money that we
Have
should have
you-
deposited in 2016.
Have you checked with the chief on their policies as far as a bad check and what they can do?
I did not, I wanted to check with you first, because I think that, I'm not sure if
It sounds like
it's
you
your
went,
authority or Pam's authority, or,
Yeah, you know, and I think we have the discretion to say no checks, you know, that they would have to pay cash, only because it's the 3rd time.
yeah,
I
no.
mean,
I've
you get
never
another
had
check,
this
you get
happen,
another-
usually they write another check and everything's fine, but this one is just consistently bouncing.
Did you get copies of the check?
I have copies of the check that's been returned.
Cause I have a tip for you when they come in.
Yeah,
Paste those checks on a basketball, when they come in, bounce it, and tell them it bounced again.
well, the concern is also, it's illegal to write bad checks.
Yeah, I think there's a
Yeah.
legal procedure that the police chief will be able to help you
So,
with, so I
yeah,
think we
right.
should look at
Yeah.
that avenue at this point.
Yeah.
It's been
so
a
at this
couple of
point,
years.
you let me know when you're ready to receive the information, or should I take it directly to the chief? You should be involved in it.
I would say, do a consultation with the police chief, see what he recommends as far as legal action.
And we can
Well,
always,
there's a process for legal action, and there's a process we can take to no longer require her to accept a check
From
from
this
that
person,
individual.
right.
do we wanna check with,
Two
an
separate.
HMA, see if they can give us a legal,
We can start with the chief, I mean,
Yeah.
and just,
Yeah.
you know, unless you want Lean to, you have enough on your plate.
well, it's almost behind me, thank goodness.
Well, I think what Bob recommended, I think with the board be in full concurrence with Bob's recommendation. At this point, any future registrations for this year should be by cash.
Well, for this person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cash or certified check, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
typically,
Do you wanna make a policy, like a certain number of years, forever? I mean, at what point can I
I think
accept a
you
check
have to
from
take
him
them on a
again?
point by point, you obviously don't have that many of these, right?
I mean, I get a few bounce checks a year, and
But
they
most people
usually
come
get
right in and
covered.
take care of
They
it.
come,
Right.
I give them a courtesy call, they pay a $25 return check fee. So even,
For this particular person, I'd recommend for this year, we do it a cash, as Bob would recommend, for this calendar year.
Do
so
we
I
need
will,
to take any steps, Bob, do we need to, give her anything in writing as far as that to happen, or?
Well, either that or we could make a motion to pass it so that, you know, that she doesn't accept checks from this person.
no, I don't think that would be the case, because if he does clear up any future business with the town, you're limiting, you're saying, no, we won't accept checks, but typically the tax collector, when it comes to a lien, for example, after a certain date cutoff, they're not allowed to take personal checks, they have to take
Right.
certified checks or cash. So that could be something that you put in place, or do you ever call the bank at the time that they're at your counter? I know that would be an extra step for you, but the bank, in business, you
My
can
company
pick up
keeps calling until the funds are there and then they cash it quick.
well, no, but you can call the bank before you accept the check and process the transaction to see if the check has valid funds.
so when I go to the bank tomorrow, I should take that check with me and see if there's a chance I can
But
cash it.
I think for this,
I don't know if I can cash it though, it's a,
for the short-term duration, I think, the idea of having
Did he give
cash
you
or a
another
certified
check?
check would be probably,
and that's the one that you handed me a few days ago that bounced.
But it's bounced, okay. It's probably not valid, but they could definitely tell you if the account's closed or anything, did it say anything?
I know
It's just
that
non-sufficient funds.
if you call and check the funds, see if they're sufficient, and then pass it through as a regular deposit like normal,
Mm.
hoping it all goes through and concurs.
I-
But you can only do that so many times.
Yeah. I do
You can
know-
redeposit a check.
When we get, if we ever get the reader of the check, those actually read the money in the bank, and if there's not enough funds it will
Okay,
stop the
but
transaction.
the question, this is an immediate question of how we wanna handle this particular case.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say
I will
do,
contact the chief.
yeah.
Start with the chief.
And then just keep us abreast of what he gives you for information.
Thank you.
Okay. Road agent, we're open in public session now, sir. If you have a comment,
We'll get some good frosties.
okay, sure. Mike, you're in the agenda, do you have any public comment aside from what's on the agenda?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna close public comment at this point, and I'm gonna go right down the agenda, the first item. I'd like to make a motion that per RSA 31:95 Bravo, Roman numeral 3, paragraph B, that we accept a total of $175 from the fundraising for Wreaths Across Dunbarton from Dunn Larson. Dunn Larson has already submitted the check to the town administrator, so we're in receipt of the check.
I'll second your motion.
Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Lean, if you make disposition of those funds.
Yep.
Okay, Renee, you're up next.
Well, thank you. I'm here today because I would not be able to come the next 2 Thursdays. And if I waited till after that, we'd be right up on the heels of our town meeting. So I thought it'd be better to be ahead of the game rather than right at the last minute. As we know, many people have responsibilities during voting and also during the meeting, and those responsibilities overlap. Some of us have oversight responsibilities, that would be me, and yet I'm not necessarily the one doing the actual actions, I'm the one charged with overseeing them. So, I thought it would be worthwhile going over our thoughts about who's responsible for what. Understanding that even if one of us is responsible for item C, we may have worked it out that somebody else is actually going to take care of that. But I thought we'd start with whose responsibility is whose. My understanding is that the space is the select board's responsibility.
That is correct.
And so there are a whole bunch of items that I think that encompasses. All the way from, a lot of it is laying out the area. at the day before the voting for voting, and then as voting is getting ready to end, to shift the room from a voting room to a town meeting room, and to do that pretty quickly, because we've got 0 minutes between the end of the polls closing and the start of the meeting. So, so there's that. I'm assuming that toward that end, we'll be setting up on Monday night again. I don't know if you've thought about who will help with the setup yet.
We haven't talked about it, but I think that that's obviously something we've gotta discuss. Yep.
Okay.
We had talked about bringing in some extra help there last year and how we were gonna pay them, and I think we need to continue that discussion.
Okay.
Find out what time the school will let us in.
Right, the determinant will be the school admittance, what time we can get in there.
Yeah, it's, the last few times we've done it, it's been around 4,
Right.
but I'll double check with Owen on that,
Okay.
and I'll get back to you.
And we'll just need to make sure we have access to the janitor with the keys to the closet. The janitor's gotta be
The
available.
closet with
Chairs.
Tables.
the chairs, yeah. No, and, yeah, he generally is there, but I'll make sure.
But that's, we show up and it's open and we don't find him, we're like
Yeah.
stuck.
There are restroom supplies to be thought about. School generally supplies that, but in terms of making sure there'll be enough for the whole day and the evening, something to think about. Monitoring the trash cans, making sure that the space is cleared. We have to talk to the school about extending the timers for the vestibule, parking, light, and heat. And that being part of the space, I think that falls under your responsibility. On the other hand, I'm gonna be talking to Owen anyway, so I'd be happy to pick that up if you'd like.
Okay. That'd be great.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Making sure that we have extra batteries for the sound system microphones. They're 9-volt batteries, we need 6 of them. And Lean, if you'd like, I can send you an email with this list on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And making sure that we have a digital recorder for our town clerk to use.
I have it in my possession.
I understand she's got it.
Okay. One of the things I was reading about is audiovisual aids. In other words, any projectors that may be required. I don't know.
Required by you.
By either me or any other presenters of the articles. And I think we may bring an audiovisual in, like something run off the laptop, so we may have some pictures to show
Okay.
the voters.
That one is technical enough in the setup that I would suggest that you guys talk to Owen directly about that.
Okay.
There's a projector there. But,
Okay.
but I have no idea how it gets set up.
We did use that projector at one of the
I think all we did was pull down the white board, I guess it
Yeah.
might be, and then we used the town laptop with the police department's projector.
Okay.
That's how we did it in the
All
past.
right, we can do that same. No, I was reading in the responsibility, it was a gray area, because it was with the moderator who is responsible for making sure it's available, but the thing is, the selectmen are involved, like intertwined with that
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah. No, I think being clear about whose responsibility is, and then what our plan is to meet the responsibilities. And
Okay,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're bringing it up. I think, checking out the room at the beginning of the day, making sure that the crash bars are open and the handicap accessible is ready to go and all of that. While it's technically within the space, I've always done that, and I'm happy to continue to do
Okay.
that.
We're happy to let you do as much as you want.
And I'll be happy for you guys to do what you want. To me, what's important though is the communication.
Yeah.
That we, that we all know what to expect on that day, we're all on the same page about it. The part of the day, that's largely what I've got, and I'll send the list to Lean. The part of the day that worries me the most is the changeover.
when we switch over.
Yeah, that we'll really need to set up the chairs and get that side of the room. We can kind of block off half the room. We can get that side of the room set up
Ahead of time.
ahead of time. But there'll be some scrambling right at the last minute there, and I will be somewhat distracted, as you might be too, because you'll be
I'm
ready.
thinking, I'm looking at the requirement, we have to have one booth, we have about 2,200 voters. And I'm thinking no more than 8 booths, because it's 1 to 200 on this particular election.
So that would be 11.
Yep. 11, but the thing is, 50% of it can come from the small ones.
Yeah,
And so we can do fewer booths.
yeah,
And rely on some of the smaller ones too. And don't forget the handicap is a booth too.
yeah.
So the thing is, I would recommend we don't go crazy setting up all the
No, of course
voting
not.
booths.
Great idea.
And the booths all stay set up anyway, those don't come down during the.
We can, right, we can keep the rail area smaller. by
Yeah,
doing-
and that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Just to facilitate closing up towards the end.
Yeah,
And,
or maybe even being able to leave a lot of stuff there and having enough room in the rest
just
of
set
the
chairs up.
Yeah, have a guess at how many people will show up?
I would say no more than 250. That's pretty
Our
much
big
normal,
ones are
right?
350 to 400.
We don't have any really big warrants that are,
I don't remember 300 in attendance in
Yeah.
quite some time.
You
There are
don't,
no
so-
contested races, and I don't think there's anything contested or contentious on the warrant itself
for the town, no.
for the town.
You're right.
Yeah, so I.
School is all different.
Yeah, and we're ready for 4 times the normal attendance
Okay,
on the school side.
okay.
So, yeah. So,
Do you have a pro tem?
well, before we move on.
Okay.
So, 300? Now we're
That's it.
trying to figure out how many chairs to set up.
We can take a look at the minutes for the last few meetings. Generally, at the end of the minutes, I'll put X number of people were in attendance at the meeting. So,
Using the last year's as a basis.
What,
Yeah,
and I
last
think
couple of years.
we've been
I
closer
think-
to 150.
Oh, I know,
It's been
but that's
much
why I'm
less
thinking no
than
more than
300.
250, but I don't know.
Thing is, we can keep chairs on the roller carts available in case people start coming in. We can easily throw up 10, 20 chairs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That only works if we've got somebody designated ahead of time, knowing that we may call on you during the meeting to set up chairs. Because I don't see me doing it. I don't see
No,
any of you doing it.
okay, we'll discuss that.
Okay.
That's one option though, but we can have those
that's a good
chairs
option.
just available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if, it can almost be self-service too. I mean, if there was nothing but standing room and there's a chair right there, a normal person would just grab a chair and put it up, sit down.
And we'll have the bleachers.
Yeah, and
You know,
yes.
One other thing to think about. Oh, wait, you had a thought.
Oh, just for you, a pro tem moderator, have you
Yeah.
designated one?
Not yet, but I will.
You will, okay.
Yeah. And
And the thing is, you're well seasoned with the snowstorm and with inclement weather potential.
yeah. I'm not sure that we've gotten very good guidance from legislation on who can do what yet, but I'll be learning more about that in the next couple of
Okay.
weeks. Similar to your point, one thing that complicates this election is that we've got 2 town officials who are on the ballot,
Correct.
who, because they're on the ballot, will not be able to receive ballots to the ballot box.
So that's you and you,
Linda,
okay. Linda and Mike, yeah.
yeah.
The
So-
thing is, will I still be required to certify at the end to sign the box with the tape at the end? I think I will.
You
Yeah.
will be, we can perform our regular duties with the exception of handling a marked ballot.
Right,
And we cannot be in the guardrail during the tally.
right. Okay,
But other than that, we perform our election duties as usual.
okay, great.
It's a long day, and without the 2 of you taking ballots, that cuts down severely on the number of us who will be.
Do
So
we-
it might be worthwhile you're thinking about someone take your place.
Okay. That could count ballots as a selectman.
Not count ballots, to be there to receive ballots.
When,
Receive
if
it.
Ray
Oh,
steps away for lunch or
right,
whatever,
like at the ballot box.
Yeah,
right, the ballot box.
Right,
Yeah.
But he
gotcha.
goes to eat
Yeah.
or steps away or gets
And-
called for
and we know that
something, we can't touch them.
as we've worked together over a number of elections, being able to fill in for the ballot clerks, being able to move around and do a variety of things has been helpful. So it will be helpful to have.
Yeah. I'll see if I can
So it
get
doesn't
a pro tem for a selectman for.
Right. And normally we'd be able to use Gary to step in for Linda, but she was telling me that he won't be available.
That's correct.
So,
We're
again,
gonna,
something to think
there's
about.
a shortcoming there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're talking about closing that department down maybe for that period of time?
Closing
here,
my office,
Yes.
my office is closed that day.
It's always
Automatically closed on town meeting day.
Yeah, the pressure on you is the day before to receive absentee, right?
It's just all the last minute stuff, the long day before, because I have to be here until 5 o'clock the day before.
Right.
To receive absentee ballots,
okay.
and then all day, town meeting day and
Yeah.
half the night.
Okay, we get some things to figure out before the,
Yeah.
but
So we-
you at least identify them, I appreciate that.
So if you, yes, so the big thing would be to recruit, people who will be able to take direction, according to the statute, because we're still, we are bound by the statutes. This is a local election, but pretty much we're bound by the same rules and regulations for the state and federal.
Absolutely, okay. And I have one other concern, as of, 2 hours ago, our polling hours on the state website is incorrect.
On the state
On
website.
the state website
I
is
will
incorrect.
take care of that.
Okay.
I will notify them.
And we have to do that by law, we have to notify, it has to be on the state website correctly. It's at 8 o'clock, and we all know we changed it to 7.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think we've been a good stewards in trying to advertise that appropriately for the voters, and it should be interesting how it turns out, but it needs to be
I
corrected though.
may be able to do that, through my voter database.
Okay,
I might be able to make that change. I will check.
okay.
If not, I'll get on it tomorrow when they
Okay,
open.
yeah, and those were my concerns, and we'll discuss further tonight as we go into, when we bring it back to the board, we'll discuss about some of the issues with setting up and stuff like that.
Okay. I think I'll be able to come to Thursday right before the election, and I'm likely to try to get on the agenda and come back.
For the
then
final- for the
to
final.
cross last Ts and dot the last Is.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, any questions?
No, I think that, the only thing is if we replace you with somebody to help with that ballot box, maybe we could, get a little instruction from Linda for that person before the actual voting day to help that person out.
Oh, just
So
a little
that you're not trying to
training.
do it as you're setting up and all that.
Right, we can do that. I
Okay,
don't even know that we should fill in as ballot clerks, even though the ballots won't be marked. Pretty much, I have
Keep
to
it
be there
clean.
because I'm running the
yeah,
checklist.
I can still be there, I can greet voters as they come in, direct them to where they have to go. If they're non-registered, direct them to the table. I can do all,
Right.
That's what we did the last
right,
time.
and I'm familiar with my roles as not a real, I just can't touch anything,
Right.
and be in the corral,
Or electioneer.
yes.
Or election.
And electioneering is to include, I didn't realize it, but even buttons,
Correct.
really, they take
But also, you can't really be directing people because you're on that ballot and you're gonna be within a certain amount of feet away from
oh, no, but as long as I'm not wearing anything, I'm fine, according to this.
Yeah, we've, Mike acted as an official greeter, the last time.
You can wear an election
He's
official
out-
button.
he's
just not
outside the
campaign
rail.
button.
Right,
And the direction is just, the supervisors of the checklist are there, the ballot
That's all.
clerks are there. That's pretty
I
much
can
it.
say good morning.
Yeah.
How's the weather?
Where you register to vote,
Yeah,
under the eagle.
okay,
Be a good idea to see if we could use the supervisors of the checklist to fill in.
sounds like a plan.
Yes, the ballots or whatever.
Anything else?
I think that's all I
That's
have.
what I have. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move right down the agenda. Mike, you're up.
Okay,
This looks like a Kelsey Road issue, so I'll recuse myself from it.
Okay, fair enough. For the record, Dave Knoll's gonna recuse himself. I saw the videos and I saw that.
and I just want to know how the town's gonna handle it.
And I asked, it's under investigation now, because I just got wind of it today,
Okay.
okay? I've asked the road agent to look at it, I haven't talked to him at all. I was gonna defer 1 week so we can get the facts. As I said, I saw the videos within the last 2 hours.
Okay.
And I only saw this today, and the thing is, I briefly talked with Dave Nault about it, I saw the videos, I briefly talked with the road agent, asked him to step on it.
Whenever I come back next
I
week.
do. And the thing is, I hear you, and the thing is, great videos, great pictures, and how we wanna move forward on this is, I don't wanna make a knee-jerk reaction.
Yep, that's what I
Okay.
saw.
And I would rather get input from him, and the thing is, what I don't necessarily wanna do is, I wanna keep it very simple. I don't wanna involve more fees from getting a lawyer involved for the town standpoint, because it's gonna cost more money than I think the solution may, if it requires money in the solution, it may not. And the thing is, I wanna reach out to what my responsibility is, because it's almost, I will view this as, someone damaging my mailbox. And the only thing I get is like, sorry about that, have a nice day. And so, I wanna get the facts about what we're responsible when the plow goes by and destroys someone's property, that's what it is. And so I just don't wanna jump to it, because I wanna hit pieces.
Okay.
So I like to just defer this for 1 week, it'll be fine, if you're happy with that.
Yeah, I'll work with you on that.
Okay,
I'll come back next Thursday.
fair enough.
Okay.
Okay?
See you then.
Yeah, take care.
All right.
Come out the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Just make it known for the record, Lean, that I'm back on the board.
And Jeff, I'll talk to you during the week as we go forward, and we don't need to do it tonight, I'm still in the fact checking mode. Unless you got a report to make to us tonight about what you found out.
I was there at 3:30 and I see a broken post, that's all I know.
Okay.
That's all I know.
I would like you just to, just view the videos that Lean has. I think they're interesting. They don't really show cause and effect though. But I think since Mike,
What do they show?
nothing, they show just town trucks going up and
See that
down.
tree right there? That's what it shows, but on the other side.
But the thing is, to be fair, I do want you to take a look at that and see what you can, your opinion on what happened. If you can ascertain anything, I'll leave it at that. And so when you.
Yeah, whatever, like I said, it was all news to me when you called me today.
Yeah,
It was the
exactly.
first I had heard of.
Well, I saw it on the agenda and I said, I don't wanna just,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
knee-jerk reaction
But
to make any
yeah, I went
judgments.
down to look and try
Okay.
to see what was going on and
Okay.
it wasn't quite what I expected.
I'm putting that issue, we're gonna defer that to next week. Now we're gonna move on to the Stark Mill Bridge.
Stockbridge over
No, Stark Mill
Stockbrook?
Bridge. I'm sorry.
Stockbridge over Stockbrook?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one we're working on.
I heard it was rumored it was a Crosby Memorial Bridge too.
It could be.
Hey,
I affectionately call it Dunbarton's Big Dig.
Just so you know, I kinda gave that memorialization.
That's
to-
fine. That's fine, I appreciate
It
it.
was
It'll be
just
the one
kid-
that does me in, right?
It was just kidding, around, so you know.
That's
The
fine.
thing is, we gotta have a little levity here.
Oh, that's fine, I got no problem with that, I think it's
Okay.
funny.
So,
I love it.
you're down for a update on that, and then paving prices update.
Yeah, where we're at with it, the gentleman, Mike Hanson, who was installing the bridge, Hanson Bridge Company, they had moved in, removed the old bridge uneventfully, it went well, no issues. Installed all their steel sheeting, which is a two-fold thing, it creates a cofferdam, and it also is gonna create a safe area for the guys to work, to excavate for the footings. The only thing that we ran into it's actually gonna delay it a hair, is it was not on the plan, but when he went up to inspect the precast pieces at Mitchie, the way they were cast, from experience, he knew right off that these footings they come in 3 pieces, 3 on each side, and they're set down in. And then the arch part actually sits in those in a groove that's all made. And everything's ready, there's no problem there. But the 3 footings that go in the ground, there's grout that has to go between them, it has to be poured in between them. And it has to be above freezing to do that for 48 hours. We're kinda, we're having a beautiful day today, it's supposed to get cold over the weekend, it's supposed to be nice next week. You need more than just a short window, because to do that, to make it adhere correctly, and he wouldn't do it because he's the one that's responsible. Ritchie Corporation said, yeah, it should be above freezing, and that's the way we left it.
I'm already pleasantly surprised that there's so much progress made so far. So
Oh yeah, no, it's gone good. There were like I said, no unforeseen things. Things have gone well. The original plan was to excavate and put those footings in and then stop at that point, because we were aware that the arch part had to be grouted to the top of the footing pedestal. But this was something different. And it's not feasible to build a tent structure over them, heat them, because that large piece of precast is whatever the temperature is outside. So I mean, it's silly to do it. And you don't want to get the hole ready excavation wise until it's time to put them in.
the temperature will be here sooner than later.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. it's an incidental thing. I mean, I think in some respects, he moved in sooner than he thought he was gonna, because he had a problem on another job. So we got to the point we're at now sooner, so there's just gonna be a little pause.
Any questions, Jim?
The only question I have for Jeff is I saw the partial payment in there,
Yes,
that's, equal to the amount of work he has done, so.
yeah, his contract basically spelled out, as Lean could attest to,
Yeah.
the payment schedule.
Less, how much percent?
10%?
And that was how, as a holdback.
Retained, yeah.
And he took that off that portion of the bill instead. It was fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. No, it's good. That was, he had spelled out, I think, 3 different phases. And he's got basically 2 of them done.
Very good.
So that's
Okay,
that.
second-
So it's going good, I think.
Okay. Will you be able to talk to it briefly at the town meeting if anyone asks you about it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm just wondering, I
Yeah.
anticipate voters asking
Yeah, I
about it.
don't know where we'll be at that point.
I understood.
Like I said, if the the way it's going, I mean, you know, New England, I mean, it could drop down to 10 degrees in a week.
Well, we could have a snowstorm election day too.
Oh, yeah, we could. Yeah, we could. We've had that before. No, it's not.
According to the weather, I hear middle of next week's supposed to be in the 50s for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, I saw that tonight. Really?
They don't, not require, but they won't allow for you using any kind of accelerator.
No, I asked them about that, and they don't want to do it. 'Cause I guess
Just
it-
curious.
You guys would know this more than I would. Weekends the strength of
It
it,
does
right?
weaken it, yeah.
So they don't advise putting any kind, because that was my first question, if you could add accelerant to it, they said no.
Yeah, especially something like that.
It's a pretty minuscule amount, it just fills
Right,
the
it's just-
void, so.
Yeah.
But if he's doing, it sounds like he wants to do it by the book, which is fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, our town engineer that's overseeing, he wouldn't sign off on it, for sure. We didn't ask him, but he wouldn't.
Yeah.
The guy installing it knows it's not correct, because if there ever was an issue,
Could
you know,
go back to
it
him.
could come back to him, and the supplier of the precast said, yeah, it's not a good idea, so I mean, it's pretty unanimous.
Yeah, and there's not enough grout where you're not gonna generate much heat
No.
anyways.
No.
If you were pouring that,
Yeah, poured
you
in
could
place,
use
yeah,
you
exactly.
could use blankets on,
Yeah.
cover it up, and you can't do any of that.
Is
Yeah.
that a keyway that you're talking about? They
Mhm.
set that, locks into a keyway and then they
Yeah, it's a
grout it?
tongue and groove type
Yeah,
thing,
it's a
and then the
keyway
grout
that
gets
they're gonna
poured,
drop
yeah.
into, yeah, okay.
It fills that
That's
whole
why
void around
You
there.
don't have a lot of grout going in there, it's
Yeah, oh,
just to fill the void and tighten it.
Probably isn't even a
Lock it in.
yard, you know, just to fill that void and lock
Right.
everything in.
Yeah, that's all it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a very minuscule amount, but it still has, it's a process, it has to be
Yeah.
done.
Okay, moving on to paving costs.
Yes,
We got a letter here.
yes.
And talk to how that will impact you.
It's just, he basically gave us a proposal to, pave again next year for us for the same price that he paid for last year.
That's good news then.
Yeah, no, it's no increase. He's done that before. The last, I think he's paid that advanced paving, Espan's paid for us. It could be going close to 7 years, and we put it out to bid, was it last year?
Not last year, the year before, for like
Yeah.
4 years straight, and he's
Yeah.
always came in
And
low
it's,
bid.
he's always been the lowest bidder, so I'm very confident that,
Okay,
and, you know, he works well with us,
that's important.
yeah, which I think is valuable.
Okay.
And talking with other, like the asphalt companies and stuff, nobody sees any big increase or anything. Because, and just to be fair with you, so you understand this, in his contract, he does have an escalation charge that's based on state fees, and it's one the state allows. If the price of liquid asphalt goes up a certain amount, they can go up
It's
as well, but anybody that bids on asphalt work puts it in.
Includes that.
It's a, cause nobody, it's a bit of a crapshoot.
Right.
Right now,
Oil-
nobody,
oil
I guess
goes
what
up.
I'm getting at is nobody expects any big
Yeah.
increase in liquid
When
asphalt.
oil goes up, they don't wanna still be in business.
Yeah, no, exactly, but that's what the driving factor is.
Okay.
The machine paved part, is that per hour, is that what that's?
That's
64?
per ton,
Per ton, okay, everything else is.
64.50 per ton in place, that's hauled, laid down, rolled, compacted, the whole 9 yards.
And this will be impacting the top coat, final top coat phase
Yes,
3.
that's what it'll be per ton.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, same as last year. The handwork is like if they have to tie driveways in or come and do, you know, repairs to culverts, trenches.
And how about the reclaim and fine grade?
It's the same price it was last year, which is, I think,
$1.40 a square
$1.40
yard.
a square yard.
And, that's a surface yard, when they're doing that? on the fine
Yes,
grade?
yes, it is. That's correct.
So that's not the entire top coat? That's just like connectors to driveways and that type of stuff?
Yeah, but that's actually, if we were gonna do reclaiming would be grinding up the whole
the
road
and
bed
everything, yeah.
and then doing the fine grade just before paving.
Okay,
That's what that is.
all
I
right.
mean, he has a small milling machine that they use, that they come in and they do that grinding to tie the driveways in,
Yeah.
out of the joints and stuff like that. And there's some basic per hour charge for that. But if it's a small thing, he doesn't usually charge us, but if he has to spend a bunch of time, he does this kind of.
Okay,
But I'd like to continue it.
okay, I have no issues with that.
Motion,
We need a motion.
just like the fuel or anything else, you need to make a motion
Sure.
to go into
Okay,
contract with them.
Want me to make a
yeah,
motion?
please. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the bid pricing for the paving for, the year of 2018 from Advanced Excavation and Paving in Sunhook, New Hampshire, as it shows on his form.
I'll second that. Any further discussion on this advanced paving contract?
Nope.
Or private paving prices, that's what we're accepting paving prices, no? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Alright, thank you very much.
And then if you so kind, just take a look at those videos and just give comment to Lean, you don't have to be here next week.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a movie.
It was movies, okay? And
Do we have a guilty party?
no, in my
Oh.
opinion, no. But the thing is, that's my opinion, you're the subject matter expert.
Jeff, did you see any marks on the post when you were out there on the field visit?
I don't know, it was weathered, it's
Yeah.
been sitting out there for a couple of years, I couldn't. It wasn't obvious that it got run into, that's for sure, but I have no idea what happened.
Just take a look and
Just
make
out of
comment.
curiosity, I mean, I know you don't wanna talk about it tonight, but was there a timeline on this event, or?
I don't know if it was the last storm, was it the last storm, or?
There
The
may,
last-
there
I
may
was-
be, there may be a timestamp on the videos.
No, I
Oh,
was
I
just
didn't
wondering
know.
because,
I didn't notice that till a couple days after the storm on the side of the road.
I was just gonna say, cause the last time there was a plowing event was just about a week ago, Wednesday and Thursday of last week, and I was just surprised it took so long to surface.
I think it's been in my, he
Oh.
sent me the pictures a couple days ago.
Oh, okay, so they're not that long.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but
I
don't-
thought it was just all something that surfaced today.
Well, it surfaced to the select,
Yeah.
and the things, I don't wanna make a snap judgment on it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
And,
Whatever.
so I just want your subject
Yeah, I
matter
had
opinion.
no idea.
Okay.
So it was all news to me.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for coming in.
next discussion, we're gonna discuss transfer station hiring. This is not a discussion of actual hiring people, I just wanna make sure that the select board, we're in consensus as far as how we wanna proceed to go through the hiring processes of the next batch of part-timers.
Can I just give you the background of
Please.
how we typically did it in the past? So
Okay.
in the past, Woody would review the applications, then he would schedule a time where he and I could meet with that individual and, ask questions, and, then he and I would talk amongst ourselves, and if he wasn't able to make the meeting, then he would ask me to, move forward with his recommendations, we'd go into non-public and make a recommendation. This time here, I was on vacation, he said he felt that he was in need of hiring a new employee, so he didn't reach out to anybody, I don't believe, and he took
I
it
didn't get
upon.
reached out to, but I did read the notes on, it looks like there's 3 very specific types of people. In other words, there's only one person that can meet all the hours of one of his part-time employees.
Yeah,
One wants to be on call, and the other one can only work limited hours. So there's 3 applications that I read there, but it looks like only one that could possibly be hired for the part-time position as a full part-timer, I guess.
right, I think I wish Woody was here, but, what he has to understand is that he attempts to hire someone to fill every one of those shifts. But if you can't have someone do that and they're only available on Saturdays, that would be when you wanna utilize them, but I haven't had a chance to talk.
But it looks
about
like there's a person that wants to be on the on-call list that could, potentially fill in.
Right, I haven't looked at any of
Okay,
the applications
but
yet.
procedure-wise,
I thought we had talked earlier in the year, Mike, like on the first ones that we interviewed, you were in that meeting
right,
with
Yeah.
Lean and Woody. and
right.
I'm happy that if you wanna go and do that again or whatever to
I think
get
one,
somebody.
one selectman,
Yeah.
Woody, and then maybe the town administrator.
Yeah,
And I'm happy with that, and it can either be Bob and me, then that group of 3 makes recommendations, prioritizes them, and gives them to the full board. And then we hire appropriately. So, the thing is, the interview process, I don't think Woody should be reaching out to these on an individual basis and interviewing. I think it should be by the oligarchy of the group. Basically, the three people should interview. And I think that, as we did in the past.
Well, I think we did that this year, we had a shortage we had to fill, and so we wanted to get the applicants all there, and we did that as a group.
Yep.
I'm not sure, I think that most department heads hire on their own normally in the town, no?
No, it's just reviewing the application and then, or going with a recommendation to the board.
So Jeff, have you always come in with a recommendation to the board when you hire somebody?
There's not much of a turnover.
Yeah, we only had one
Right.
repeat, basically.
But you do typically come into the.
Yeah, we did a full interview of several employees, several potential candidates, I believe, Ted, John Wigan, and myself.
See, there was a
We
select.
did a little panel,
Yeah.
we interviewed Ted being the selectman, John being,
So the same way we did it.
yeah, a knowledgeable guy
Yeah.
around, you know, has been around.
Okay.
Himself.
So, we can do that, when he wants to, we'll leave the manager, transportation manager, Woody, when he wants to proceed with the interviews.
Yeah.
Just coordinate with you and you coordinate with one of the selectmen, whoever's available. It's immaterial who.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then you come up with the final recommendations and then we approach the whole board and we make the decision.
Yep.
Okay, so that'll be the procedure. Okay, I'm gonna go through the inbox, which I don't have much in the inbox. I don't have anything in the inbox. Oh my
Yeah, you did have two things, didn't you, or did we discuss?
After we discussed them already.
Okay.
So this is good news. So I'm gonna go to public comment again.
Okay, I do have some.
Yes, sir.
It's concerning
For the record, it's Leo Martel.
concerning the station again, the recycling.
Yes.
I noticed last Saturday when I was leaving, when they plow, whoever's plowing that open, the entrance, on the west side of that entrance, there's a snowbank that's so tall you can't see the oncoming traffic at all. You have to get your car right out there. I'm in a truck. I can't imagine what it's like in a little car.
Gotcha.
And I was there again Wednesday, I guess it was, yesterday. It's melting. I could just barely see over the top. Again, in the car, you can't see. Maybe they could push it over a little more so you could get line of sight down 77.
I think that's a great recommendation.
I mean, it looks pretty, that's a bad spot, you know, to pull out of.
It is.
You really have to look fast both ways and really
step
well,
on.
but now you can't see from that side at all.
Okay.
You know?
Lean, if you would just take that, pass on to Woody.
That's not something the state does because they plow that,
No, it's,
Well,
It's
whoever's
more
doing the
of the-
approach.
it's
no, we
more-
do it.
Okay,
It's our
Yeah.
driveway.
Yeah.
I mean, even if the state did it, something should be done after or something to open that up, knock it down,
Okay.
or push it further
Yeah.
back, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Because-
our driveway, I don't
Yeah.
think the state touches that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so,
And
no.
again, just going back to the idea of a four-wheel drive pickup truck and a plow, doesn't that make sense? Because a skid steer could be there all day pushing that snow.
You sold that last week.
Well, yeah, with a skid steer, how long does it take to do that whole area with a skid steer? Must be a while.
It takes a long time with a 6-foot blade, I think I saw.
Yeah, it's a little, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't wanna sit in that skid steer for all that amount of
I would
time.
think that a plow would be a lot faster.
And that's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in consensus. Okay,
All set?
okay, sir, as a member of the public.
I shouldn't say anything, but Elijah, on that plow subject, I personally think you're after the wrong truck. I think you should get the next size up, a 1-ton single wheel, because it'll be a beefier truck to handle that kind of work better. And a flatbed on it, so they can, anything they haul, they can load stuff on with their forklift and all that stuff, instead of a pickup truck. But that's just my
The only thing
thought.
is, they're picking the bags up and stuff, so a flatbed, they'd have to put sides on it.
Yeah, you get stage body side, those rack body sides, but you could take them off if you wanna set something on with a forklift is, but I don't think it really makes any difference, I think you're on the right track, a brand new vehicle, not another used one. Cause the
We had
town said,
7 years worth of maintenance records on there. and
Yeah, no,
could've
I-
bought half the new vehicle.
for what a new one costs, but,
Right.
I mean, I would've just been asking for that
But
next
is
level.
the state
Not interior wise, but for the frame and the stuff for that.
And Jeff, we did bring it up from, a half ton to a 3/4.
Oh, yeah,
So we
which-
did that step.
Yeah, no,
And
because the plowing is a severe service.
on transmissions.
Well, the frame, it's like everything else too. Years ago, a 3/4 ton was a beefy truck. But now, everything's kind of been built a little less
beefy, so, but
But
that's, it doesn't make any difference.
One good thing is that at least it's a good surface to plow.
Yeah, that's right, it is,
You know?
99% of it's asphalt,
Yeah,
you're right.
so
It's fairly level too.
Yeah.
It's not like plowing a roadway or something.
Right.
How can we open up a state contract to residents?
To what?
To residents. That state contract was awesome as far as the dollars
Yeah.
saved. We had one
You can't
resident.
do that.
No, but the thing is, it was, I was just surprised how neat the prices were. I'm saying, are these
You can
prices?
buy them at auction in 10 years.
Yeah, really. Okay, with that, I'm gonna close public comment, bring it back to the board. I'm gonna go with Dave first.
What I'd like to do is get into some of these ideas on the voting booths and some of that and review that period of stuff right now, if we can
Yep.
kind of go over it
Actually,
quickly.
what are you reading my
No,
paper?
I had made notes earlier.
Okay.
We had talked about hiring people from the transfer station to work that day and the evening before to help us with part of that setup. Because I do know that, it was helpful for Linda for us to come over with pickups and get her stuff. I'd like to continue doing that, but I think we're overburdening ourselves trying to do it all.
Well, and the other thing too, well, and realizing we're shorthanded this year, but regardless, I don't want someone to get into the comfort level that the selectmen are gonna do it every time.
Yeah.
Because if the select board changes, those other people might say, I don't want anything to do with it.
Well, we owe the public to be able to, talk with them about issues that evening without moving a pile of chairs as well. That's part of our job, is being there to answer questions of the public, and if we're doing that, trying to stack chairs and move chairs and rails and,
So while we're talking about that, and talking about potentially hiring maybe somebody from the transfer station, and unfortunately, past select boards have adjusted the rate of pay, so it wasn't the rate of pay they were earning, which isn't right, as far as I'm
Yeah, I
concerned.
was gonna bring it up.
Is the money that they're making is the money that they should be making.
what did they do? Did it-
They cut the setup salary hourly rate
To
to $10 an hour.
What kind of board did you work with?
No, I wasn't on the board. I was there in the audience.
So
That was in the
that's
audience.
when nobody volunteered to do it, because they got a pay cut, so then it fell on the board to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense, come
So-
in, but you're only gonna get a quarter of your pay.
So at least having them, and not only that, but it gives them familiarity with setting up the stuff. The more you do it, the easier it gets to do.
Yeah.
So you've got, at least have them setting up for the election, because the taking down, I have to admit, it's a long night if we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
That's me, but I mean, and we did pretty well last time, it came down pretty quick. But setting it up and having those guys there to set up the chairs even, after we close that off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
think
know,
all that needs to be addressed.
if,
in,
and I'm gonna go to now the conservative part of me. If we do it in a day where they're working, so that, well, actually, because they're part-time, but it's still, I don't wanna take advantage. Rather than having them work at overtime, well, for instance, Woody's very familiar with it.
Yep.
So if he's setting up on a day that's like the Monday, if he's working at Monday,
Yep.
adjust his hours so it's not coming in on overtime. Well, overtime, I really don't care. Overtime isn't a big part of it. I guess it would have been coming in and getting 3 hours for doing an hour and a half's worth of work,
Right.
which the labor department tells you gotta pay them at least 3 hours.
Mhm.
I think it's a great idea. I have no idea. I think it's a great idea that we bring people in.
I think if the board made a motion to change the rate of pay for this particular job to be the regular pay at
we're not gonna make a motion to do that, we're just gonna pay them their regular pay.
if the, okay.
That was
the
what
board-
other boards were doing in the past, we're just not gonna
Right,
follow that.
Right. You'll get more volunteers, so I would say,
Right.
in the past, we had at least a minimum of 3 who weren't scheduled for a Monday, but we paid them a 3-hour stipend, like we do when we call someone in,
A shift, yeah.
but at the regular pay. As soon as we dropped it to 10 hours, everybody said, nope, not interested, and it was only, we were down to 1. So I think if you went back to the regular rate of pay and you get the word out that there's that 3-hour minimum, then that gets charged to
I think we have
And
consensus.
even,
the budget for that particular,
and even with Woody, even if it is overtime, because if it's a regular work day, and he works 40 hours a week, so
Right.
it's gonna become
That is not
overtime.
his regular day.
What's that? No.
He does not work.
But
on
regardless, he
Mondays.
works 40 hours a week, so that would still be overtime, cause it's after 40.
Yeah,
So I don't have a problem, even though it means time and a half. It's not a big deal to get the thing set up and have experienced hands. And people that are working with him, cause he's done it, Fred Mullen put in a good plug for Woody, is he does a real good job setting it up.
yeah,
That's how you learn, from someone that knows what they're doing, so you can do it, you know, and so. It makes no difference, but I think putting that work out to someone that has time, more time than we're gonna have to do it.
I would think that,
So we-
need to, let's go with the 3 people they've used, not used in the past, but at least 3 people.
offer to them first and see if they
Yeah,
have,
where
if
somebody
they're interested.
supervises it, and then 2 other people helping.
Yep. And the thing is, let the shifts that we need the setup shift, which would be, a Monday evening.
Yep.
And, then Tuesday evening, just at the.
Chairs.
For the chairs, it'd be around 6:45, it would be, whatever.
Well, you know, and
It's
I
gonna be
think
3
you
hours.
can, yeah, but
I would
the
get them there at
voters
6.
don't go in that whole area, so you
Because
could
I'd get
start
them there
setting it out.
5 or 6
Yeah.
and start doing that.
Yeah.
And then do the changeover, so they get the 3 hours
Yeah.
of use out of them, so.
Yeah.
Have them come in from 5 to 8 maybe, on that second.
On the second shift.
Well, I would say 5, and then if the work gets done, then
Yeah.
they can.
It is what it is, and they get the extra time, cause
Right.
you're gonna give them 3
3 hours
hours.
regardless.
You know?
Yeah,
So if it'd be 2 shifts we're asking them for, 3 people for 3.
But when you're looking at the total dollars and cents, it's not a whole lot of money to change the world. And the money is figured in for the election, so.
Okay.
And so we had talked about that. I didn't wanna nickel dime them and get them at the $10.
I
That's
know.
what they came up with.
yeah,
And we got
That's
no one that
the-
was
the
interested,
state,
so.
okay.
Okay,
So 4 o'clock on the Monday, and then 5 to 8, or 5 to as long as you need them on
Yeah,
the night of.
7:30 or 8.
See who I can get for volunteers.
And
We
we don't
need 3.
we don't need anything for cleanup at 11.
We need how many people do you think it should take?
Oh, I think 3 is handy because
It'd be,
you're carrying boxes, you're holding that
Yeah.
spring-loaded door open like when we did
Yeah.
it. It took 3 of us to do it right.
that's fine.
For
you want,
cleanup,
for cleanup, you wanna have them for cleanup too?
No,
'Cause that's-
Bob, I think Bob and I were talking general discussion on all the shifts.
and I don't know that they're typically there at the end of the night.
No, the end of the night, what we did in the past, and, it gives us something to do.
You would do it
Well-
while they're counting, right?
Well, while they count, not just counting the ballots, but even after they're done counting, it takes Rainey and Linda a long time to plug in the numbers, to get the numbers in accordance, so in the meantime, while we're waiting to sign tape, we were taking
We'll
that
pick up
stuff
chairs.
down,
Yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of the counters help with putting chairs back too.
Right,
Yeah, that happens only because they're gonna bring out tables and they're gonna set up some chairs
Right,
to
but
do
the,
the
but the
counting.
voters will actually,
So-
someone will stick around, the
Usually,
voters will-
usually the voters help.
Yeah,
yeah, the
Ground
voters
chair
will help
pickup.
pick up
Yep.
the majority
Chairs.
of the chairs, then you.
Yeah.
okay, so,
It's just the voting booths taking
Yeah.
those down,
Yeah.
And you'll see how
So
they
you
go
don't
up
need
this
anybody
year.
for,
After the
cleanup.
guys took them down last year, you'll see how they go up this year.
We'll have the racks on the side, we'll tell
Right.
the moderator, don't forget to put your
Might
chair
not
on
go
the
up as
rack on the
good.
way out. To keep your taxes low.
okay, well, I think we're in consensus.
Yeah.
2 shifts, 3-hour shifts,
3
Monday,
hour minimum.
3-hour minimum,
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I think the day we're there, we can talk with the janitor in regards to the restroom supplies, trash, and timer on the lights. I don't think that's a big.
No.
How about the batteries? We're gonna have,
He's-
what's her name, get some batteries?
Yeah,
in
I
from
can have her order.
Renee,
Jo Marie.
yeah, but Renee's supposed to send a list of supplies.
He
Renee's-
will, he said
Renee's
he's gonna send me his list.
List of supplies,
So we'll
okay,
give that to Jo Marie so she can get that done.
correct.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, anything else? No, Bob, to you?
Okay, and the only other thing, because I had that on mine too, but I also had, did you ever check on the library door?
I left a message again, and I was so busy today, it was
Okay,
in my thoughts when I was reading the minutes, because someone brought it up last week, it's in the minutes. So I'll follow up with a call again tomorrow.
Could we order another roll of gray tape?
Oh, no, That bad?
It is that bad.
Okay.
That was just a little humor.
I'll make repeat calls, how's that sound?
Okay.
Tomorrow, all day long.
Don't you have any Gorilla Tape at your house?
Yeah, Gorilla Tape would be
That would
neat.
hold
Yeah,
pretty
we'll
well.
do that, yeah.
Miracle
You
wood.
got anything, Mike?
I am good, gentlemen. Lean, I'm gonna go to you as town administrator.
I just wanna let the board know that, the town report is complete. I have a final paper loose leaf copy, to look at the formatting. It'll be going off to the printer tomorrow. He needs 2 days, he'll get it back to me. I'm gonna try, I don't know that they have Monday as a holiday, so I'll get it returned. I will reach out to the different departments that are interested in reviewing it. In that proof, because I think it's important that you look at it while it's in the bound proof. Because I could still
Oh, so
make
you
mistakes.
get a bound proof.
I
get-
That's
I
what we're
need
gonna
a-
look at,
I
okay.
need a bound proof because, believe it or not, even a paper copy together like this
I
can
hear
shift
you.
in when it's bound.
Yeah.
So I prefer to have a bound
And I
copy.
did pencil in the 19th, I think that was the date that you estimated.
Right, we're closed on the 19th, but I think it doesn't interfere with the printing company, so I'm gonna
Okay,
try to
so
get that.
after that would be our review date.
It may be
I'm
the
going
19th.
tomorrow, I'll be getting my emails up tomorrow for
Okay.
sure, to give everybody a window to come in and take a look at the proof. Either Monday or Tuesday morning or something of that sort, cause I have to get it back to him 2 days following, cause he needs I'm gonna confirm it tomorrow, at least 5 days, and I need it back by the 28th to get it to the post office on the
Got it.
1st.
Yep.
So there's a very tight window for
We can do it.
the final
Okay.
product.
I say that because of your concerns last year, earlier in the year.
Yes, no, I really appreciate it.
And,
Yeah.
And
What
we're,
about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
we're just, again, I could accuse of rambling, so I'm not gonna ramble, I'm gonna default to Dave.
Do we have anything that we need to do as far as getting those mailed out to the public?
I go through the process of weighing it at the post office. I fill out the permit application. I get the check ready to go, and then if I have to, it gets put in my truck and I deliver them to the post office.
And how long do you think we'll have before they,
They need 3 mailing days for the routes, for
Yeah.
all the entire routes, so I typically try to get it on. They have to have it in, by law, I have to have it available 1 week before town meeting, and that would be Tuesday the 6th. So that's why it's critical that I get it to the post office on Thursday the 1st. So then they start distributing or mailing the reports come Friday, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. So those are 4, I give them like 4 days to.
okay,
Get the
yeah,
town
I just wanna
report.
make sure we don't miss that date, cause I know they really like to look through them.
Technically too, by law, if I put the whole warrant on, or the town report on the website, that is, we've met, the requirement to have it available.
That would be insurance.
And which I will do, but
Okay.
we don't like to get it out there until we dedicate it, so we'll be dedicating it on March 1st, that evening, and then,
Who is that now? That was a test question.
he's rambling again. So there is a tight window, but we're right on track, so I think
So that
we're going to.
the person receiving the dedication this year won't receive it prior to being
And
recognized.
that's why I have to really wait until I get it to the post office at the right time.
Cause that happened last year.
It did, they were fast. I literally dropped it off at like 12 in the afternoon, and by the end of that day, some of the routes had already been delivered. So they decided to take cases, and I'm gonna get this out of my box.
Fortunately, the person didn't get a chance to look at the cover.
But it
Okay.
happens.
Nice
Okay, that's
surprise.
it, Lane?
That's it for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. No non-public today. We're all public today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So, with that said, motion to adjourn.
I'll second it at 8:04.
Well, Dave's here, things go by pretty quick. Last week it took forever.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.